to do Chanel trim. Now Chanel trim is really named after Coco Chanel because her suits were so beautiful, but they were very plain and they were trimmed plain. Chanel trim is not anything you buy extra. That is a technique to cover a cut edge. That's it. So when you've lowered a neckline, instead of just turning it to the inside, you can finish it with Chanel trim and make the garment beautiful. Now, one of the reasons that I love Chanel trim is that because there's a lot of patterns on the market that I have seen that tell you to put this trim to this scoop neckline 1-to-1. So if the neckline measured 20, you would use a strip of fabric that was 20 inches. The reason that I use Chanel trim, the reason I love it, is that it makes this lay next to your body. So if I bend over, my shirt's not going to fall over, nothing's going to fall out. It's a beautiful finish to a neckline. So it's going to lay next to my body. It's the same thing that I finish armholes with. I do that with Chanel trim so that they lay next to my body. But you can use Chanel trim anywhere. You can put it down the front of a jacket, put it on the edge of your sleeve, on the neck edge, anywhere. And you're going to do it exactly the same way across the board. I'm going to show you a neckline, but you would do the same thing to an armhole. You would do the same thing to the bottom of the sleeve. So the first thing that you're going to do is to take your garment that you've made, sew your front and back together at the shoulder, and then I want you to press a crease. And the reason I want you to press a crease in the front and the back is because this way you have that crease and you know exactly where the center is. And that's really kind of important when we do Chanel trim. I find it easier to use your iron than I do to chalk a front and a back center seam, or the front and the back center of a garment. So just press a crease in it. So now I have part of a garment done here, and you can see that I have the crease pressed. I did it in the blue because you can see it a little bit better. I do have the shoulder seams done. I did top stitch the shoulder seams, but that's totally up to you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this garment down on my table like this, fold it in half just like this. Make sure that you fold it perfectly in half. And if you want to, put weights on it or something like that so it doesn't move on you, because you don't want it moving on you. And then what I'm going to do is decide how far down I want that scoop to be. So you're going to stand in front of a mirror. Now every single person that uses my pattern, right there is where the neck edge is on your pattern. This is the front, this is the back. This is the front and this is the back. So I'm going to measure from right here, the hole in my neck, however far down you want it to be. Let's just say that we take this down 4 inches. So I'm going to go down 4 inches and I am going to cut a U. If you don't feel comfortable doing this, may I suggest you draw that U, and then you can follow what you drew. So I'm going to cut a U out just like this. I'm going to cut some of the shoulder, and then I'm going to go around the back side of it. Now on your pattern and on the sewing directions, it tells you to neat, N-E-A-T, up the neck edge, all right? And the reason you're going to neat up the neck edge, and I'm going to show you on this real quick. Can you see that some of your neck edges might be off just a little bit? You're going to cut all that away anyway, and you have a beautiful, nice, smooth neck edge. Then you're going to take your tape measure and you are going to stand it up just like this. And you're going to get the measurement of the hole that you just cut out. And what I've got right here is 22.5 inches. So I am going to cut a strip of my fabric that stretches. This needs to be on the stretch. And I'm going to cut, I said 22.5, so I'm going to cut 21.5 inches. And that means 1 inch less than what I measured. So let me put this back here. And I will cut this 21.5 inches. Like this. Now, what I suggest people do is to save what you cut out. Save this little piece that you cut out, because that can be a template for you. So maybe what you want to do is to draw that on your pattern if you like this finished garment. If you don't, you could raise it or you could lower it or whatever you wanted to do. Now this is the strip that I'm going to cover that cut edge in. Now what I would need to do is to sew the two short ends together. So instead of sewing them, I'm going to pin them for you. And we're going to pretend, and I'm going to sew this with a 1/2 inch seam. Now this strip is 2 inches smaller than my neck edge, not 1 inch. So I'm going to be stretching this to my neck edge. So the next thing that I want to do is to quarter the neck edge. So I already have it halved because I laid it on the table like this. So this is the center back, this pin. This is the center front, this pin. And then what I'm going to do, and this is the mistake a lot of people do, I'm going to put those two pins together just like that and find the center of those two pins. Now what most people do is they use their shoulder as the center. And let me open this up and show you there's no way that the center of those two pins is at your shoulder. So this pin is definitely in front of the shoulder, okay? So you want to make sure that it is in front of the shoulder, because if not, you've measured wrong. Just go back and remeasure. Now, once I have this pinned, I'm going to go and do that to the strip, all right? So I'm going to quarter the strip as well. So one pin here, take this to the center, and put a pin on either side of it. Now it's much easier to work in a hole. I know a lot of you have a hard time putting all this stuff under your machine. If you will turn a garment inside out like this, and you take this strip that you have and you want to turn it right side out, then all you have to do is to put right side to right side. So this is going to go right side to right side right here. And this is going to go right side to right side in the front, in the center front. And on one side, like this. And then on the other side, like this. And you have your neck edge ready. Now your neck edge is bigger than that strip, remember, because we took 2 inches off. So when you sew, I always start in the back. I put the strip on the bottom of my machine and put the garment on the top, and all I'm going to do is to pull that neck edge, or that strip, till it meets the neck edge. You're going to sew all the way around the neck edge till you get to the back side. So what you're doing is you're stretching the strip to meet that. So when I do this, I'm just going to put a pin in here as if I were sewing it, and I'm sewing it with a 1/2 inch seam. Now if you look at what I have on, this is the 1/2 inch seam. If you want to make it less, you can, but don't go any less than 1/4 inch. If you want to go more, you can do that too, but don't go over 1 inch. So I'm just literally stretching the strip to meet the amount of fabric that's above it. Now once that's done, you can see that I have that sewn. All I have to do is to go back and wrap this around that edge of that seam that you just did, stitch in the ditch, then go to the back side and cut off all the excess. Now this is the trick. This edge right here is the edge of my garment. So can you see I didn't add anything? So when I cut this neckline, that's exactly where it's going to be. So that's right on the edge. So make sure that when you tuck this to the inside, that you tuck it in pretty snug. You don't want to fold it over, but you want to tuck it in pretty snug. And then again, when you stitch in the ditch and cut off the excess, you have a beautiful Chanel trim neck edge.